Welcome back to SWAT Corps, and the action has been spectacular. That's why these crowds are here in their droves. It's fantastic to have them here, and we are definitely looking forward to more as we head on track now with Super Drift. Jim and Mikey putting on a big demonstration of what drifting is all about, and the youngsters in the crowd are certainly enjoying this. We did mention the fact that we're going to be looking at the future, the present, and the past here at the 19th running of the Passion for Speed Festival. And speaking of the present, it's now time for G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. Big field of 20 of them coming out here for the first time in 2020. This is the official round of their championship that kicks off the 2020 season. And there are some big contenders at the front end looking for chances now to take the initial victories. A welcome return there for Greg Parton into the mix in the Lamborghini Huracan. But there's Lamborghinis, Porsches, Ferraris, BMWs, you name it. It's a supercar field, and it's a big one expected as we head down towards turn 1. And it's Franco Scrivanti who leads them out down towards turn 1. Alongside him, it's going to be Darren Winterboer. We're on board here with Ricky Janakaro as they head down into turn 1. And of course, G&H Transport once again on board with the Extreme Supercars this year. It looks like the Lamborghinis of the twins now in the thick of it with the two brothers from G&H Transport taking on the two brothers from Trans Africa Racing in the Ferraris. So Lambos versus Ferraris, Porsches versus BMs, you name it at the front end though. It is their Scuderia Scrivanti Porsche of Franco Scrivanti getting away from the field initially. His cousin Dino on the back end here of the Jay's consulting machine of Alvain Steenkamp, one of the fastest BMWs in the country, there's no doubt about that. And then the two Ferraris tucked in there behind Gianni Giannicaro as they head into turn 5. Budnick in a, Dodge Viper. Haven't seen one of those racing for a long, long time. Remember, we used to be piloted by Craig Jarvis. He actually had two of them. A big crash in that one. But Budnick now got his own little Dodge Viper, and that machine in second place right now, pushing hard. Looks like Gianni's got some problems as he pulls into pit lane now in the Super Trofeo, just behind Dino Scribanti as they went down into G&H Transport corner. And then it's the two DeToys. Those two DeToy boys both in 430Fs. Absolutely brilliant stuff from the two of them right now as they start to close in on the Porsche, that 997 of Dino Scribanti. So Porsches versus Ferraris. Just behind them comes Nicky Dix in new colours. Behind that, Wayland van der Merwe here in the Martini Racing Porsche with Greg Parton in the Dryzen Environmental Lamborghini Huracan on his tail. This is just an array of cars. Johnny back on track, but just behind his dad, Jimbo. Man behind G&H Transport corner, and of course Uncle Jim looking for a chance now to push hard for a victory in Class C, but he's fighting hard, and change up at the top. I was about to say fighting hard with Dion Duplessis, but it looks like there's some problems there for Franco Scrivanti slowing in the Porsche and allowing both Darren Winterboer and Chris Budnick through for Class A+. Jason Campos still hangs on for Class A here as he comes through in about 4th place overall, and Alvain Steenkamp just behind him. The GT3 class at this stage led out by Mark DeToy in the red Ferrari just in the background as they come flying down onto the braking point. And it's Franco Scrivanti peeling into pit lane there as we see Harry Arangis coming through there for a possible win in Class D in the 360 Challenge car. That Ferrari from the 360 Challenge in Europe. Super Trofeo coming through there with Ricky Janakaro now looking for a chance for a win in his category. And he currently sits in 2nd place behind Dino Scrivanti. And that's Dino Scrivanti off. Dino Scrivanti with a big off there and big problems there for the Porsche. Then Henry Goby with Nicky Dix going around his outside. Also G&H Transport car and red flag. Dino Scrivanti's crash has unfortunately brought out the red flag. It was a big one there for him. Winterboer leads out, but have a look as we go a little bit slow motion here through turn 7. Just on the top right, you'll see Scrivanti's Porsche slamming into the wall and bringing out the red flag to end the race. One lap back takes Darren Winterboer to the top ahead of Chris Budnick in the Viper. Jason Campos comes through for 3rd, and then it was Steenkamp, DeToy, Scrivanti, Dixon, Parton. Dino Scrivanti, what went wrong?
There we had brake failure coming down into turn 4. And pretty much from there, when you got no brakes, you're just a passenger. So ended up hitting the outside wall pretty hard. There's nothing else really to say about it,
A couple of changes now, a couple of cars being repaired. Hopefully all going to be able to get back on track for race 2. And more action expected at the front end of the G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. The heat has been a major factor here today, and it's going to be more of the same as we get into race number 2 now. Winterboer and Budnick on the front row as they head down towards turn 1, and a slightly lesser big field than what we had earlier on. A couple of cars still stuck in pit lane with some issues, and a couple that had big crashes as we saw. There goes Dion Duplessis looking for another chance here, possibly beating out Harry Arangis this time for Class D honours. As we go down into turn 2. They start to move in, sort things out. Jimbo Giannicaro there fighting hard, trying to get through there on Dion Duplessis. We're on board here with Gianni. Let's find out from him what went wrong in race number 1.
a little bit of inexperience from my side. I sat in the dirt here of Dino for about 4 or 5 laps. Oil overheated. Car said no more. You know, the temperature went up. We got stuck in limb mode, and yeah, had to pull in. Had to call it a day. But good race going forward. I mean, yeah, myself, Dino, Alwyn, and Mark and Jono, we were right on each other's bumpers. It was a good race, but yeah, unfortunately the heat has got the better of most of the cars today.
Thanks, Gianni. As you can see in that little insert, we had Wynand van der Merwe getting out of shape in the Martini Racing 997. Fortunately able to catch it, get back on track. And these guys just avoided. So Jimbo Janakaro very lucky to avoid the spinning Wynand van der Merwe, but he leads Class C at the moment as they head down onto turn 3. Budnick in second place doesn't have an answer to Darren Winterboer. I don't think anybody's going to have an answer to the power of the Barron's Motorspares BMW. Fast developments on that car and really putting a fast machine onto the road for Darren Winterboer. But Budnick is having a good day in the saddle for the first time out in that Dodge Viper. Second place in Class A+. Yet again, it's Jason Campos in Class A, and then the two DeToy boys going at it. Mark DeToy looking for a chance now to get through on his brother. Budnick comes through on the back markers there. That's Class D at this stage. Aranji's leading Class D ahead of Len Henry Gobi, also in a GNH Transport. Oh, and Trans-Africa Racing have come together again. That's the second time in that corner that the Toys have come together in their Ferraris. There's some big damage on the back end of the red one. Jonathan DeToy gets going again. Greg Parton squeezes through for third place overall and now takes the lead of Class A ahead of DeToy. So that's not what we want to be playing with, that is for sure. I wonder if Mark's car is going to be stricken there, possibly a safety car scenario coming out again here in race 2. He's stuck on the sideline just at the end of the pit straight, and there'll be double yellows there for the rest of the race, I'm sure. Gianni back in the mix this time, flying a bit better than what he did, that's for sure. Not quite up to the speed of what he'd like it to be, that's for sure, but definitely a man to watch out for in this category. This man also be a big threat to the front end. Darren Winterboer looking for a victory here again in the Barron's Motorspares BMW E92 ahead of Budnick for Class A+. Greg Parton comes through for third place in Class A's Victor ahead of Nicky Dix in fourth place overall and the win in Class B. And Jonathan DeToy takes GT3 category in fifth place.
So we'll take the victory, but it wasn't really that hard fought. Second race at least had to work. Chris Budnick's done a fantastic job on his Viper and kept me honest throughout both races. So yeah, good day out. Thanks to Freddie Pretorius, his team at Fast Development for an awesome car. Our sponsors, Barron's Motorspares, and of course my wife and family back home.